Good evening somewhere, I'm sure, in the world. We are bringing you some day one action of the Link to the Past Randomizer Tournament 2023 group stage. You've actually got the second match of the group stage here. First one to be restreamed, going to be some Group AE action between third quartile Kromb, fourth quartile SirLinkalot, and we are playing Bad Keys, Bow Dungeons, Key Sanity. So calling this race today, I'm Reg. I'm joined by Sorcerer Finch. So Finch, you want to explain the mode just a little bit here?
Sure can, and hello everyone. Hope everyone's having a fantastic day. With this foe, all dungeons key sanity, we will see the maps, the compasses, the small keys, asterisk, and the big keys, asterisk, scattered throughout Hyrule. So those dungeons with 2 items, they've now got a bit more value to them. The only exceptions key-wise is we will see the Castle Tower small keys in Castle Tower if we need to fight, when we fight Aghanim 1. Again, all dungeons includes Aga 1. Also, the GT big key will be in Ganon's Tower, so we will see that.
Yep, and that's one of the big things to the modes of the tournament this year. We've got 5 modes with a variety of key shuffles and other options, but every single mode will have Ganon's Tower key, big key specifically, in Ganon's Tower. The small keys in this mode can be anywhere alongside all the other small keys. And we're off. There's a key.
Key to Meyer, but Linkalot pulling out the Power Glove right off the bat.
Power Glove is a great find, especially if he can get a bomb or two, either off a guard drop here when he throws the sign or off the tree pole. That Meyer key it's logically necessary, and it's definitely a convenience if you're going to go in and route that dungeon, but we are a ways off from needing that.
Right, that's going to be one of those where we'll remember it when we get in there, but it's not really required quite yet. And Linkalot going to go ahead and take a look at bombs, and well, there's a compass of Ganon's Tower. That's not the most useful one.
In this mode, without the bosses being shuffled, compasses are functionally, I'm going to go so far as to call them useless.
That is fair. I didn't quite see what was up on Lumberjack Ledge, though. I would guess it's a heart.
I didn't get any look at it at all either. I'm sure Kromb knows what it is, and if Linkalot goes and scouts it, we'll get another chance to see it.
Yeah, in the meantime, though, that blue mail, we'll go ahead and pick that up, take half damage for the rest of the game, and there's going to be a lot of game here today.
Yeah, you did say all dungeons, so doesn't matter what our crystals and pendants are. I guess it kind of matters because you can have pendant progression in Ganon's Tower, which is always a bit of an oof when it happens. But
right, and also we will make sure that we'll hope that our racers remember that they do need to do Castle Tower. Now, ideally, that can be the last thing that you pull. Okay, just bombs.
Yeah, so we do have to kill Aghanim twice, but we're not doing it for that.
Right, unless there are very delicious blueberries up there.
And speaking of, we did see Kromb take the S&Q out of the Thief's hideout that SirLinkalot is kind of headed towards now, because no bombs, 2 rupees, kind of a precarious situation to be entering Kakariko on, so save and quit, go to Link's house, take that south route with the farm on those 50-50 bushes there.
Right, it guarantees that you will at least be able to have the 3 bombs, and it guarantees that you'll have the money for them as well. Ooh. But that Ether Medallion, we're going to go ahead and probably pick that up.
Yep, looks like it. I do think there is potentially a case to be made for skipping that in the super early game, because there is a chance you just don't need it. But at the same time, it would suck to go to Meyer, go to Turtle Rock, find out that you do need it and it was there the whole time. So
Right, and if we don't have the flute yet, or I guess for Meyer we would already have the flute, but we will actually see how, because we do have much different routes. SirLinkalot is going to make the more aggressive play here. If there are bombs here in Kakariko Well, then this will be a bit of a time save.
yeah, and he can farm a few rupees here, but he's just pulling arrows, and that 20 not going to get him to the 50 threshold to buy bombs. I've got to be honest, I'm not a big fan of the more aggressive Kakariko routing with no bombs in a key sanity mode.
Right, but the nice thing is, if at first you don't succeed, just go ahead and get a little bit more money.
Yep. Gonna have to do this twice, though, to get over 50 to buy bombs. Feels bad.
That's true. And with that map of Swamp Palace that Kromb found, we will now be able to see if Swamp Palace is a pendant or crystal, and if so, what kind.
Yep, that is an important thing. It is a little less so in all dungeons, but you do need to get the map before the prize information will show up for that dungeon on the world map.
Yeah. And we're actually going to see now. This is actually going to be kind of interesting. SirLinkalot now has the money for bombs, and Kromb is going to go ahead and take that one bomb to Blind's Hut.
So Blind's Hut is a little bit slower to farm rupees in than the well, but you don't have to do it as many times because you can get 30.
Right. Early in Meyer, big key there, and there were bombs in Blind's Hut there.
2 big keys, bombs. SirLinkalot getting punished just a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal in the long run.
Right, and there's the bomb refund right there anyway. But yeah, we've gotten the small key of desert, which is over on Kromb's side so far. We've gotten a handful of keys so far.
Did we see desert or was it pod? Because Linkalot pulled pod out of Chicken Hut just now.
I believe the back of Tavern had the small key for desert.
Oh, I suppose I just completely missed that then. I guess Kromb will probably be picking it up pretty shortly here.
Or, I'm sorry, it was right there in the well.
Oh, that was... Okay. Sorry, I'm just...
Oh, no, You're good. It's like, I know I saw it somewhere. And and also just to give a shout out to our tracker BSJ, pressing the buttons, keeping us commentators and the chat honest.
Yeah, especially because Key Sanity got a lot more buttons to press than other modes. So, shout outs to BSJ there.
Yeah, and especially in this mode where there are going to be a lot more, especially this early play. Oh, it's a good thing we got that money, huh?
Yes. Best place in the game to find that flute, too, because you can just go immediately activate it.
Yep, and Kromb's having done the south route, we'll be able to just go ahead and skedaddle to another place.
Yep, presumably flute to 7 and get the dam right away, but got plenty of options here. Oh, actually, this is probably going to be a back of escape play from him because there is no good flute to the Sanctuary or the North Light World area.
Right, and you got the bombs as 3 good item checks. The small key for Hyrule Castle, like in the escape sequence, that is shuffled in. Probably won't end up really mattering that much, especially with the Power Glove where it is.
Yeah, it does have logical implications on the Boomerang chest and on Zelda Cell, but generally that can be completely ignored and doesn't matter too much.
And we've got some weaponry back here. We found the armory.
You love to see it. The hammer is great damage, Dark World access, just something you always love having. The only downside is that hitbox is kind of questionable. But the sword makes up for that, even though it doesn't do nearly as much damage yet.
Right, and it does put us just in a hunt now for the Moon Pearl for Dark World access.
Yep. And then we can see how these runners decide to diverge. Once they get to the Dark World, you could start at the village, you could start at Hype Cave, but we still got a little ways to go before we worry too much about that.
Yep, and we've got we do have a very, I think this is going to be a good group. Oh, okay, and we've got some red mail there, so even though we're on 3 hearts, really the biggest danger here would be anything that does a straight up 1 heart of damage.
Yeah, even those crabs that normally do 2 hearts on green mail, not so threatening on red.
Right, and SirLinkalot going ahead and also going to pick up that Ether Medallion.
Kromb's bomb not really cooperating with that Moldworm there. He was trying to save some time, avoid having to go to that left side to kill those Moldworms, but bomb only got one of them.
Yeah, but we've got some fresh item checks here. Actually, a good bomb refill, and a lot of cash. A lot of cash!
Okay, that cash is really, really nice to pick up, because even without the Moon Pearl, the option of using the fake flippers to get to the Zora area is still on the table if we get the cash for it. But without the Pearl, I kind of got to isolate both the waterfall and the ledge, which makes it iffy.
Right, but we do have it's a little bit slower of a money grind up here, but we could go ahead and get Zora money right now.
Yep, 20 rupees under that rock, just got to do it 3 times. It is a tad slow, but if you do want to go to Zora, or if you pull like a Moon Pearl or even Boots out of here to do some water walking, nope.
Yeah, and that part is at least in logic. And with the flute and being able to go back to the 8 flute spot, I could see it. And it looks like that's what Kromb is thinking as well.
Yeah, I'm expecting here, because the glove does put the singular Zora check in logic, like you mentioned. So I'm expecting him to use the fake flippers to get up to the hobo, knock that check out of the way under the bridge, and then move on to Zora, scout the ledge, pay the 500 rupees, and move on.
Yeah. Meanwhile, SirLinkalot giving us our first look at Desert. We saw 10 arrows out on the... Just 10 arrows and the map of Hyrule Castle, which, yeah, that one, unfortunately, isn't quite what we're looking for.
We are starting to run a tad low on checks, though. I think we've only really got the inside of Hyrule Castle, and then Sahasrara, Eastern, and Zora. Am I forgetting one?
I think, yeah, that's about it.
No, I am forgetting. We can get inside Spectacle Rock as well with that flute.
Oh, you're right. You're right. We logically we can't rescue the old man, but we do have. We've got 1 check available and 1 check scoutable. Yep. And frankly, if you're going up there, our racers are pretty familiar with navigating in the dark there, so we'd probably likely see that as well.
Right. I do wonder, okay, it looks like Kromb is gonna keep fake flippering here. The only other place to go with it for now is Zora. I was kind of wondering if he was going to take the S and Q, because with the flute, you can just flute to 8 whenever you want for the Zora fake flipper. And the other items are a bit more in logic, at least as far as the density goes. But, yeah, scouting the island there, it's nothing. We don't have to worry about it. And then on to Zora.
Yep, and we'll see. I don't think Kromb remembers. Uh-oh.
Well, you'll figure it out when he leaves and he's still swimming.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, you do need the Moon Pearl to get that water walk. There's no way around that, unfortunately. But it is something, the Moon Pearl being an item that tends to block a huge portion of the game in the entire Dark World and all the dungeons there. You typically see it pretty early, so it's pretty common to just not really be thinking about it that much and just autopilot it, which is probably what we saw from Kromb here.
Right. Now, one thing, though, because that does give value to coming back here, like in a pinch. Because one thing that we will want to keep an eye on is what is in logic, what is out of logic, and we've got a key.
This key is in logic, but it's for pod, which Moon Pearl again.
Right, but that's I think our second pod key now. I'm half wondering if one other possibility we have is the Moon Pearl is that we find the lamp and a sword down in Escape. And we have to do Aga just for Dark World access.
Yeah, that's definitely on the table here, although 2 keys I don't think is much of a breakpoint in Palace of Darkness, just because logically the back requires 3, just because of the possibility that you could waste a key on the vanilla big key chest on the ledge, and then not be able to reach the back with only 2.
That's a good point.
But having to do Aghanim for Dark World access in an all-dungeon setting like this honestly doesn't feel nearly as bad as having to do it on a normal seed, because you got to do it at some point anyways.
Right. The only time when it really feels bad, because what racers doing like an all dungeons kind of seed like this would hope for is be able to save it till last after Ganon's Tower, quickly climb Castle Tower, and then be able to enter the Ganon fight with full hit points and magic.
Yep. And then just on top of that, clearing Ganon's Tower dumps you out right on the pyramid. Presumably you're going to have the mirror, so you just mirror and you're at the entrance to Castle Tower, which dumps you right back on top of the pyramid, right out front of the hole when you clear it.
Yeah. So SirLinkalot, just because of the very early game, is a couple minutes behind, but SirLinkalot didn't even go towards Waterfall Ferry, and that's gonna actually make up a little bit of time here.
I think most of the time difference at this point comes down to the Agena check, actually. He's got that over Kromb.
That's a good point.
And then the rest is just a few seconds, mostly determined by the Kakariko routing. I'm not going to call it a mishap, but it was a lot less smooth for SirLinkalot there, I think.
All right, but so far, nothing really to write about. This is our last check in logic. In Hyrule Castle. SirLinkalot is going to go ahead and take that flute up the mountain, though. Kromb setting up for a death warp. It's going to take a while with that red mail.
Also remember, we did briefly discuss it earlier, but boomerang chests sell not in logic without the Hyrule Castle small key. So suddenly it's really interesting again.
Right, and that lamp, though, so then where is the Hyrule Castle small key? Probably eastern area, I guess, at this point.
Well, until we find the items, like, funneling us into Castle Tower, it could be just somewhere in the Dark World we find the Moon Pearl in the eastern area. But it does mean, yeah, Hyrule Castle small key not going to be behind any dark rooms. Yeah. Which, again, that key typically gets very, very ignored outside of extreme edge cases involving the gloves, like when you can't reach the back without the key. But we'll see how it goes.
Right, and there is at this point, considering the lamp is probably the lamp. We'd rather have the lamp than that be the logical access. To be fair.
Yeah. The bird flying right by because Kromb picked up the rock. But he did get the bomb, so.
There you go. All right, and we are going to go ahead and see the eastern area here. And honestly, once we find that Hyrule Castle small key, probably in Sassy's closet, we are fully in Kromb will be fully in logic.
Yep. Because we weren't able to break logic in the Zora area without a pearl or boots to do that special water walk. I am a bit surprised by Kromb dipping the dungeon first. I get that with the flute to 5 it is, and the glove, it is faster to walk straight to the dungeon than do Saha afterwards. But it does get punished a fair bit if the big key is in Saha or something that would let you skip dipping the dungeon entirely. On the other side, though, it is key sanity. Double dipping dungeons is kind of to be expected, and there's a reward.
Right. We'll take that mirror. But yeah, we do need the big key and the bow as well.
Yeah, bow does not come into play for Eastern Palace until after you have the big key, but once you do, it is also needed. But that mirror is really nice because that's actually East Death Mountain access.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, with that hammer, and we will probably be able to check for. We're going to be able to check 4 of these chests as well. Having the compass, by the way, I see that 2 of 6. That means that Kromb has gotten 2 of the 6 item checks available here in the dungeon.
Yep, and since this is a key sanity mode, those are going to all be item checks. But this is number of chests in the dungeon, not necessarily number of items. It's just that in this mode they do line up.
All right, and we'll see where SirLinkalot goes. We'll also go ahead and check Dark Cross.
We're seeing our first Turtle Rock small key on Kromb's side and another Sphere 1 check. We'll need at least 3 of those in the relatively distant future. But we're on the long loop in Eastern Palace for Kromb. SirLinkalot kind of retracing Kromb's steps here with the Dark Cross check. And we have seen several compasses so far. Which right. I guess I did call them useless earlier, but they do have somewhat logical implications in that the boss of a dungeon will expect you to have the map and the compass, or it can be holding exactly one of those and expect you to have the other. So,
right. Now, something kind of interesting. We are 21 minutes in. We're still on 3 hearts.
Yeah, the seed has been quite poor in that regard. But we do have red mail already, so we saw the death warps on the ball in Shangard earlier being pretty tricky. Vanilla green pendant there. Still have to do it.
Right. And one other kind of interesting note for the viewers, the music in the dungeons are shuffled up as well. And that was another pod small key.
Yeah, we're up to 3 now. Well, we do have 4 hearts. There was one in the back, but the only place really left is East Death Mountain, which Kromb is going to show us once he's done saving the old man here, because he doesn't really have anywhere else to go. He's not going to detour from that to Agina.
Right. And Agina, like, and we know that Agina doesn't have anything for us. But it is, and with the flute, it's not as out of the way as it could be, but it's still kind of it's not one of those checks that feels good. And you might go ahead and opt to just do the Agina check when you check Meyer, when you eventually have like the Titansmiths and Mirror, which he already has, so.
And we do have chat asking for magic mirror location. SirLinkalot just pulled it. Gloves were in Link's house. And hammer was in back of escape alongside the sword behind those gloves. And other than that, the keys have just kind of been scattered around a bit. Kakariko had a fair bit of those, but not much of anything else, really. But we have already paid Zora, and I don't even remember what it was. I think it was some small key. Meyer, maybe?
It was...
Oh,
Yeah,
it
it
was Pod.
wasn't Pod.
But yeah, both runners did pay Zora despite not being able to check the waterfall or get what's on the ledge. But the ledge is junk anyway, so we're not going back for that. And with the mirror in hand, I've got to imagine these runners just at least try to wait until they have the flippers. Go to Catfish, mirror to the waterfall, and then leave from there.
Right. All right, and there's a piece of heart. We may, without the hook shot, we don't really have any way to get to the top of Tower Hera.
No, but both of those two checks were in logic. Definitely pretty quick, worth doing. To get them duck out.
Absolutely, and you know, passing on one of the piece of heart, and it's like, nope, you're gonna get a piece of heart out of this.
Now we're going to see the floating island scout here. Do have the mirror, but need the mitts and the pearl before we can reach that. Not that we want to, for just bombs. Then go down spiral, climb paradox, maybe scout the Turtle Rock entrance if we get the mitts here. But I'm sure we're going to find something.
Now that being said, Kromb is down to 3 bombs, so that is going to be enough. Oh, never mind, we're good.
Yep, jellies. I don't know if it's the bomb pack or the super pack, but they're in one of them. And you got the 8-drop. I think it would probably be the super pack because the mini mold arms were also in that.
Yeah, but now being able to check the Paradox caves, and at this point, Paradox is getting close to a last location. If it isn't already.
I am pretty sure that between the two runners it is. In fact, I think it will actually be last location for Linkalot. Kromb still has Agina, though.
Oh, that's a good point.
Of course, you were mentioning the bomb counts. There is a shop in Paradox Cave you can buy 10 bombs from. And Pod. Yep, Pod.
Yeah. But now is the Moon Pearl up on Pyramid Ferry, or on Pyramid Ledge, I apologize. We're down to 5 checks.
We need a second sword and the Hyrule Castle small key to put that into logic. Yep, money. And Pearl.
And there we go. There's the Moon Pearl. And Big Key of Desert. So we still can't get into Desert, not without the Titan's Mitts, not without the Titan's Mitts or a book, but now we can finally get into the Dark World at the 26-minute mark.
Yep, then we'll see. Okay, so Kromb fluting to 4. Gonna start that Dark World trip with the so-called Hype Cave. Just a casual 5-item cave just south of Link's house.
Yeah, very quick to get to. How hyped do you think it'll be today?
I'm gonna guess that it'll largely come in the form of keys rather than items. Maybe a fire rod specifically. That's my prediction.
All right. My prediction is going to be 2 trackable items. Besides just keys, two items.
That's not a very encouraging start. Small to Thieves Town is nice, but we don't have the big to use it. Skullwoods. That's a fetch quest key.
Yep. But yeah, I know Kromb's got to be excited to finally have some checks and not be and not have to either make that decision of isolating either Agina's cave or having to do Castle Tower out of logic.
Yeah.
Well, actually, and I apologize, he can't even do that because we don't have cape or sword.
Right. I am kind of surprised, though, he is headed over towards the pyramid. Normally, when you see somebody start their Dark World adventure with the Hype Cave, they will go west, pick up the items off of Stumpy and the Digging Game, and in this case, the cave south of the Grove, since we have the mirror, too. But Kromb getting that pyramid, I don't think he's got a way to set up a splash delete fake flippers to check the waterfall cave, though, so he'll still have to check that with a flute to 8 at some point for fake flippers.
Right. Well, and this isn't a dip into pod either.
The big thing about pod at this point, when you've got 4 keys, if you do the hammer jump trick and you're willing to route it a bit slowly, you can full clear the dungeon with the bow. So it may be worth putting that trip off, see if you can't pull a bow out of somewhere before going, just so you can full clear in one go.
That's a good point. Also, that was a sank heart on the pyramid ledge. Kromb had half a heart missing before that trip.
Yep. Sankheart, notable for being the only one in the game to actually give a refill itself. None of the boss hearts give refills because the pendants and crystals do instead. Second Turtle Rock small key. Okay. Is this going to be flute to 8 or 3? Okay, there's 3.
Okay. And we do have some divergence. SirLinkalot is going to go ahead and go check Stumpy and do some of these south checks.
Yep.
And this route is a lot more attractive, having the mirror and the flute. Just being able to do this K45, plenty of money for dig game.
Yeah, the only real downside to routing like SirLinkalot is that it makes the smith a little more marginal to route, but that's not even true in this case because we have both mirror and flute. So we go turn in the smith, immediately pick up the purple chest, and you don't even need to walk it, just flute to 7 instead. There's nothing to walk it with because we've already done Stumpy and the K45.
Right, and without a book and a second sword, thinking about that Bumbo's tablet, that's kind of more on the back of your mind as well.
Yeah, but I mean, can't do it. And since we've got flute, mirror, and we know that mitts are going to be required regardless, book may just never show up. Hookshot, though, we need that for sure.
Yeah, that's not only useful for, I mean, it's also required for the game, but that is also a bit quicker movement as well at this point.
Yeah, in the absence of Pegasus boots, if you can hook onto something to move, then that's going to be faster than walking there. The downside is if you miss or you hook onto something that can't be hooked, and you kind of waste a lot of time because that animation is not super fast.
Right. All right, and SirLinkalot will be also going to. Let's see if this will be Skull Woods for SirLinkalot or we'll start in the Village of Outcasts.
I have to expect that with a Skullwoods big key in hand, meaning you won't have to circle back around for the fetch quests, and no Thieves Town big key, that you want to go Skullwoods first. And yeah, there it is. He's headed north.
Yeah. Well. Oh well.
I mean,
it's
better that than isolating it.
That's true. That is 100% true. And Swamp Palace big key not actually required. It's just for one item, unfortunately. But
yeah, it is the other fetch quest big key alongside Skullwoods itself.
Right, one of those where you know, if you got to get it, at least you get it before actually going to the dungeon. And there's that fire rod, French vanilla fire rod.
Okay, so another piece of key sanity logic that tends to go completely ignored by runners where possible. Mothula, 3 small keys required. Of course, Kromb not going back there anyways. I would kind of expect SirLinkalot to head over there, though, with him having already done the South Dark World stuff. But then again, I mean, Fighter Sword Hammers are options to actually damage Mothula. You've got Red Mail, but 6 hearts, and there's a lot of spikes in that fight that do fix damage. That's a bit dangerous, and I definitely understand wanting to skip out on that until later.
Right, especially when it's, again, with key logic, it is out of logic. And for only 2 items, really.
Yeah, that bridge chest is fully in logic, though, is the other thing.
That's a good point. And that is a good point. Both of our runners did steal the key from... to go ahead and check that, so...
Oh, I completely missed they both did that, in which case, yeah, Moth not actually reachable. We do need to actually pull, and that's part of the reason that the key logic is there. If you can get to Moth, no problem using just pot and drop keys. But not if you steal one and then spend it to route the front in a smooth manner.
Right. Meanwhile, Kromb did get a fetch quest bottle for a fetch quest mushroom.
No Samaria to fake powder that, though. Wonder if he's gonna hold off on turning it in at the Witch's Hut because of that. Because, I mean, he's got enough checks that there's really no rush to go turn in that mushroom yet.
Right, and it is a very quick check when you do choose to route it in. Quick flute to 2, and then just go ahead and go from there.
Yeah, we do see SirLinkalot continuing to be a bit more thorough in his routing than Kromb here. Gonna go check the graveyard ledge that Kromb ignored earlier.
And yet another small key to pod, which does open up more of the dungeon, logically.
Yep. And 5 means that if you hammer jump, you can full clear the dungeon, even opening the front door. So it's really nice to have the 5th. And it does mean you can also do it without a bow, which is even better because we still don't have that, although you still need one for the boss.
Right, it will still be 100% required to have that bow.
You can bypass the bow requirement on the Mimic's room using a camera unlock or a Mimic clip glitch, but can't bypass shooting the statue with the eye. And Kromb, no Thieves Town Big Key, is out, has Titan's Mitts for his trouble, though.
Right, and as we were saying earlier, Kromb will be able to kind of take Smith for a couple checks here, if Kromb so chooses.
Yep, he has not done the South Dark World stuff, so he is actually incentivized to walk the chest once he gets there. But he's going to do Dig Game before picking up the Smith, because you cannot do Dig Game with a follower. Smith and Purple Chest, both followers.
Right, and the good news is this will pay out for Kromb, as we saw the hookshot over on SirLinkalot's side.
Yeah. And it's just generally pretty good efficiency here. And chat's also pointing out there was a Skullwood small key in the front of Thieves Town, so can go back and actually open that door and finish that dungeon now if they want to. But I don't think either of them's going to be chomping at the bit to do that.
Right. All right, and yeah, Kromb's showing off a little bit of that hookshot movement.
Yep. And the thing about the hookshot is that Link, if I recall correctly, moves an average of about 1.5 pixels per frame of movement. Hookshot moves at 4 pixels per frame, but it has to both extend and retract, meaning it's essentially 2 pixels per frame. So if you do use it, it's a marginal speed up. But if you miss, it's time loss.
Right. Well, maybe we will go ahead and turn in that mushroom.
No Samaria, no problem.
Actually, this is kind of nice. Condense it. This is like a lot of nice condensed items here with the Titan's mitts, with the mushroom, with the powder, already having the hammer. Like, be able to do a good number of checks here.
Yep, and you also don't have to backtrack for any of it later because you can do it all. Like, there are no checks left in the Kakariko area, especially because if I recall correctly, the library was junk.
Correct. Yeah, library we will not be coming back for.
Made it to 7 hearts finally.
Almost at the 40-minute mark.
Yeah, I do think 7 plus red mail, these runners are probably super comfortable for the rest of the game.
Right, especially there were some very strong qualifiers this year. The cutoff was, I think, a score of 85, and our runners are definitely comfortable with a lot of this movement and a lot of this armor set.
Yeah, like I mentioned at the start of the race that these are the quartile 3 and 4 runners in this group. But that and the seating in general doesn't really mean that much, especially because you've got players like Jet as one of the former champions in quartile 4. And with the cutoff for qualifying being as high as it was, like having just one bad qualifier could entirely tank your seating.
Yeah. Now, SirLinkalot is going to go ahead and finish off Skull Woods. So we get a little bit of divergence here.
Yep, and we have no idea what the moth is going to drop here for us, but it is something, pendant or crystal, we do have to do it regardless.
Right, at this point we can do it. The mirror does make this check a little bit nicer. We will see, though, how SirLinkalot does, because this, as you mentioned earlier, those spikes will do 1 heart of damage regardless of armor. So we'll see how well this overall fight goes.
Yeah, the thing to keep in mind, though, is that the fire rod, you need 8 shots from the fire rod to kill the moth, but it is a fairly safe weapon to use. And there was a green potion in that bottle that both runners picked up. So SirLinkalot can just kind of go wild with the fire rod from a relatively safe distance.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Kromb checking out Meyer area, we saw Ether opens the door, I believe.
And there's another Skull Woods key. SirLinkalot going ahead and baiting out the Wallmaster there, because if you're falling and you get grabbed by the Wallmaster will grab you from the hole.
Yep. That's I'm going to call it a trick, exclusive to the 1.0 version of the game, which is what the randomizer runs on. Although if you're playing your own vanilla English copy casually, that's not 1.0, so it won't happen.
All right, SirLinkalot using that fire rod to great effect so far. I think it's hit on every single one of the shots.
And I just completely missed what Kromb got out of that Desert Big Chest, but moth down for SirLinkalot.
I think it was either bombs or just a blue rupee.
Okay, so nothing of value. Red boomerang on the torch in desert. I don't think either runner's going to be going back for that.
Yeah, but that is crystal number 1 for SirLinkalot. And that is the first dungeon that we've been able to complete.
Right. Kromb's not going to be that far behind on a dungeon clear. He will be able to fully clear this desert, aside from that torch item. Oh, that's important.
Ooh. Yeah, even though the Castle Tower small keys are not shuffled, that Swamp Palace small key is one of those that can really get away from you. Because it locks all but one check.
Yeah, and if Swamp Palace happens to be a pendant, it can be literally anywhere outside of Swamp Palace itself and the Master Sword pedestal. Which, most importantly, includes the basement or even the upstairs of Ganon's tower. But for now, we've got Kromb headed towards his own first dungeon clear in the Land Molas. Gonna have to watch a wall move a little bit before we can get into that fight, but Fire Rod, a full magic bar, shouldn't be too difficult for him.
Oh, and we did get a map check. Swamp Palace is a crystal. Turtle Rock is a red crystal.
Alright. That does mean that we will find all the items we need for that. Notably, at this point, Flipper's Ice Rod Samaria, all going to be outside of Ganon's tower, which is pretty reassuring.
Right, even though it's not necessarily 100%. I mean, they are required to beat the game, but knowing where they can't be is reassuring, absolutely.
And just specifically knowing that they cannot be in Ganon's tower specifically. Because if you've got your pendant progression in Ganon's tower, then you've got to clear the tower, find that progression, and then go back. Well, that's one less pendant we got to worry about.
Yep, we get the Pendant of Wisdom over on Kromb's side, and even though it's not a crystal, we needed to do it anyways.
Yep. That is all dungeons. It does mean all.
Yep, and it's still one of my favorite, like, kind of fun facts about Kromb, and Kromb gets that same information as well. But it is my favorite fact, honestly, that the Pendant of Wisdom, this is the game where it is red, it is blue in every other game, but Link to the Past did it first.
I'm not going to say this with any degree of authority because I don't know, but I kind of would not be surprised if that were just a translation mix-up on the localizer's part, but it doesn't matter too much.
And that is a good point. If Pod is also a pendant, can the bow be in Ganon's tower?
Well, Eastern's already a pendant, but if Pod is a pendant as well, then we would not need the bow to reach Ganon's tower, which means that it could be in the basement. It cannot be upstairs regardless because there are red mimics.
Right, but that does mean, but the 22 checks that we've got in the basement. All right, and the mushroom turn-in would have just been for 3 bombs anyways.
Not super valuable, but it is a super quick turn-in. Half magic is super nice.
Especially right there, you get to skip out on just a slight divergence to pick up the full magic pot in this room, but...
Yeah, saved like half a second not having to lift that pot that he walked right by.
Right.
But yeah, you say 22 checks in the basement of Ganon's tower. If we're item hunting, there is a 23rd you have to think about.
Oh, you are right. There's also the big chest.
Yeah. Raise your hand if you've been burned by the Ganon's tower big chest in weird modes before.
Honestly, I remember scouting it just to try to find another sword, and it had a sword.
Yeah, I have forfeited at least one race before because progression was in that big chest and I just forgot it.
All right, and Kromb taking a look at what keys, I guess.
So I'm not sure what's up there, but the big chest the entire fire side of Misery Mire that he's on, I believe, is logically locked behind 3 small keys. So what he's doing, not strictly in logic, but from an efficiency standpoint, you still want to do it. Then chat's just saying it might be nature calling, which is perfectly respectable. It happens. I've done it before myself.
Yep. Meanwhile, SirLinkalot is going to go ahead and... There we go. SirLinkalot is going to go ahead and continue through Desert Palace.
Grab that all-important Swamp Palace small key. And move on. Ganon's Tower small key, a little bit less important, especially since we already had one, but still brings some convenience to the routing.
Right. Well, and especially since we know that the GT big key will be in Ganon's Tower with this mode, so we will be going through the basement at least a little bit.
Yeah, and there are plenty of pot keys in Ganon's Tower, but I guess if you do have to full clear, then you can still be running pretty short. And there's the last pod.
Yep. So now we can complete all of pod except for the back, except for the final boss, except for the boss.
Although the right side behind the red mimics is also out of logic without the bow, it can be done potion in a bottle or just the clip.
Yeah. And I was just thinking, we haven't seen a sword since towards the very beginning, and there we go.
Yeah, Master Sword, honestly, in my opinion, mostly an upgrade for a hitbox rather than the damage for the most part, but still nice. Tempered is where the real comfort's at, though, and I'm sure we'll be seeing that at some point.
Right, just with all the item checks, we will not be skipping out on any dungeons. All right, and another fetch quest there with the shovel. But that is everything that Kromb can do. We still need the Canis Tamaria. Otherwise, we could have actually completed Mire.
Yep. But it does mean that when Kromb does find the cane, he can just go back, head straight to the back and do it. Not have to worry about digging through the rest.
That's a good point. So at this point, pod is still kind of looming. It doesn't feel great with it still being sort of out of logic. You'd like to see the bow beforehand, but when do you start thinking, let's just go ahead and dip in and see what we can pull?
I mean, even with no bow, if you've got 6 keys, the answer is immediately, in my opinion. Well, immediately, maybe grab a potion first, then immediately.
Right, and we can do that. We've got the capabilities now. 2 bottles.
Yeah, I think Kromb actually still has the green potion that came in that first bottle they found. Linkalot used his to kill Mothula, but he can go buy one pretty easily. He's got plenty of money.
Yeah, and SirLinkalot, I believe I did see him buying a blue goo.
Oh, on the mushroom turn-in, yeah.
Yeah.
Which honestly, it makes sense to do. Blue potion is great safety. And chat asking who else is in this group, who these runners are competing with. So the first quartile in this group is Vortex of Doom, who I believe mostly came up, made a big showing last year after coming up through the Mentor tournament, if I remember correctly. And the second quartile runner in this group, CS Tutor, made a name for himself, having a lot of success with the ladder in particular. So 2 very, very tough runners, and both of these guys going to want to try to take a win here if they're going to want to try to get out of this group and beat those 2.
Yeah. Kromb taking a look at the bombs, deciding to say no, and then realizes, right, I need that potion. But also, I don't know if did you see the shovel got the Eastern Palace big key?
Yeah, and that key is currently just a fetch quest for us because we don't have the bow to go actually clear Easter and get that green pendant. We can
Right.
walk all the way back in for that big chest, though.
Right. That very long check for that as well. All right. Well,
Of course, sorry, go on.
that was a timely refill there for SirLinkalot, but not really much more that SirLinkalot can do aside from grabbing the shovel, which is going to pay out.
Yeah, hard required shovel. And Kromb, it looks like, is headed for Mothula now. SirLinkalot, I think, is probably going to turn in that shovel pretty quick here, and I think that's going to pull towards Pod, because I kind of made a joke about the Pod or the Eastern Big Key, but if you're going to Pod, then mirroring and turning that in pretty quickly, even if you don't find a bow, probably still a good idea. Just hedge against vanilla bow or something blocking the bow.
Right. After finishing off Desert, SirLinkalot went through the front, just hasn't done the back yet.
Yep, so we are going to watch both of these runners go through the backs of these dungeons, get to their respective bosses, and clear them out for a crystal and a pendant, respectively.
But yeah, both racers so far pretty hard avoiding Pod. Like, Eastern was... to answer your question in chat, yes, both have been into Eastern to pull the mirror as the first check. That was the only thing of note, though. So, and yeah, really hoping that the bow is not in that big chest. And Master Sword Mothula definitely gives so many more options here. But I'm about out of magic. All right, and very close to simul kill there. SirLinkalot taking down Landmolus, Kromb taking down Mothula. So that is dungeon number 2 complete for SirLinkalot. Dungeon number 2 complete for Kromb.
Yep, and the same 2 dungeons in both cases, just because that's kind of how the sea is developed. These are the 2 that we can fully... Actually, these runners, it's out of logic, but they could fake Flipper into Ice Palace and fully clear that if they wanted.
Ooh, that's a fair point. All right, let's see where both of our racers go. And East Death Mountain, or Dark Death Mountain.
This intrigues me because, I mean, it is 6 items, Super Bunny Cave, Hookshot Cave, but we know that the island is junk, and even if Ether opens Turtle Rock, you can't get in there without the king, so...
Oh, and that's right, so Kromb hasn't yet been to Tower of Hera yet, so Kromb's actually going to go from that route.
Kromb walked right by it earlier on the way to the Moon Pearl, I guess. Forgot about that. But it still does surprise me to see both runners headed over here and just ignore Palace of Darkness. Now, Chet's saying Kromb went inside Tower of Hera, which we have the 2 heart pieces in there.
Oh, okay. And yeah, we can now climb. That is a good point. We can now climb to the top out of logic, but we can now get to the top.
Yeah. We do have to leave the big chest behind, though, which makes it slightly dangerous.
Right. Well, and we also can't do the basement either. Not that we necessarily want to do the basement, but yeah, this is going to be an interesting play.
Yeah, and it's especially annoying in a key sanity mode because you can't necessarily just say, oh, I'll come back for the big chest when I find the small key to do the basement. You need to find both keys independently of each other to do this.
And that was Ether on Turtle Rock. So we've got all the medallions we need.
Oh, one of them. Feels pretty good, actually.
Right, we will take that.
Yeah, especially because, well, if Meyer turned out to be the last pendant, we already knew it was Ether, but that Quake or that Bombos could have been in Ganon's Tower. Not the case for Turtle Rock, since we already know it was a crystal, but there's a dead Moldorm on Kromb's screen. He got rejected at the very start, but came right back down, did it. Ice Palace.
All right, and that is a crystal. Tower Hera. Let's see where. So, is this Swamp Palace? No, it can't
No
be. Not
flippers.
without the flippers. Yeah. Oh, checking Big Bomb.
Yeah, because that was something I was keeping an eye on Kromb's menu there. Because we know one of our 5/6, but we also know that Skullwood's Tower of Hera are both blue crystals now because we saw them on Kromb's menu, which means the other 5/6 we don't know still.
Right, and while we are skipping that, it did look like Pod was indeed a crystal. So we're going to see the bow. We're going to see a bow before Ganon's Tower.
Which is probably a bit of a weight off these runners' minds.
Right. Also, it looks like Ice Palace was also a blue crystal.
That, unfortunately, doesn't bring much into consideration here because we already knew Flippers and Samaria both had to be outside Ganon's Tower from Turtle Rock and Swamp.
Yep. So then our final pendant, that leaves us with Thieves Town and Meyer. So
one's the last red, or one's the blue pendant, one's the last red crystal.
Yep. And that does, but that also does mean that. Okay, so SirLinkalot looks like we'll now be making the Eastern play.
Yep. Which is something that's obviously been on our mind from the booth for a while now, especially once we found out it was 5th and 6th keys. But both of these runners wanted to go check out the Dark Mountain first. And Kromb got a crystal for it, SirLinkalot kind of just walked right by it.
Right. I mean, it is a pretty quick dungeon to complete, but we'll see what's in the back. We still have the ice rod as kind of the main, not easy to find item remaining outside of keys.
Yeah, ice rod's going to be the big one, but Bo, Samaria, both not locking too many things either. Same for the flippers with, well, I guess flippers blocks both swamp and ice logically, but there's also the boots still missing in action, which we know that desert's not blocked by them, but could still be interesting.
Right. Not just for the movement, but GT Big Key could be on the torch.
Yep, it is guaranteed to be in Ganon's Tower, and I believe that's the 3rd Skullwood small key, so Mothula didn't drop anything of note, but logic is logic, even as much as we like to ignore it.
Yeah. So now I'm a little curious. Where's that Hyrule small key?
Well, the only thing behind it was the lamp, so it could be in a lot of places, just gotta follow Darkroom logic for it.
Yep. Oh, hey, there's some boots.
Love to see those, and Kromb's going to be getting those pretty quick here, too, because he's entering Palace of Darkness now. And Twitch chat's hopes and dreams are dying by the check here, with that boots pickup.
And the first test there, SirLinkalot remembering, now he's got boots. Especially with some of the seeds where you get the boots late, it can feel like when you pick up the boots, you forget that you have them immediately, so you like go ahead and do bombs checks or something.
Yep, but for now, showing off using them, you can bonk those walls that have the circular cracks in them with the boots, save yourself a bomb that way. And sequence breaking the bow gets us a map to Meyer. So actually, once he steps out of this dungeon, we can figure out Meyer the Pendant or Thieves Town the Pendant. And that's actually still pretty important because if Thieves Town is the Pendant, that Thieves Town big key is looking real scary all of a sudden.
Right. We've already done everything that we can in Thieves Town. There's a lot of places it may still be. And there's the boost for Kromb.
On the flip side to that, though, if Misery Meyer is the last pendant, then we are guaranteed a no progression in Ganon's Tower.
Which, again, reassuring. And there's Kate, by the way, over on SirLinkalot's side. There we go. Okay, we're in logic.
Okay, so logic expected you to double dip pod first to get that Hyrule Castle key, then leave to get the lamp out of Zelda's cell, and then come back to get everything out of the dark here, including that book.
Ooh, but that's an interesting book place. I mean, Bombus tablet won't be too far out of the way, I suppose. But it is pretty isolated now for both of our runners.
Yeah, the best would be if Flippers showed up and it could be combined with Swamp Palace. Ether Tablet, though, is going to be pretty nasty regardless, especially for Kromb, who's already done Hera.
Oh, Flippers, you say?
Flippers, yep.
But Pod's paying out here, and this is where a lot of the items have been. Again, we can't complete it, no bow, but...
Nah, but let's just put Bow in one of the Flippers dungeons. And then logical triple dip of Pod, let's go.
Also, that is a fair point chat's making. At the 105 mark, we have our first shield.
Yeah, I don't know these particular runners' opinions on shields, but I know that a lot of runners feel strongly and would be very happy if they went to full hour not finding one.
Yeah, so...
No, sorry, go on.
No, so... And yeah, I see that as well. I think it's especially with the mirror shield. But... Oh, and now... Oh, right, okay, right, Bonk Rocks. I forgot about Bonk Rocks there for a second.
Yep, King's Tomb, Bonk Rocks. We already know Lumberjack is junk. This sure isn't. Okay, good. So we are suddenly in quite good shape.
Right, at this point, we are looking for Bow, Ice Rod, Samaria. That's it, item-wise, at least. I mean, it's still a decent shopping list.
Yeah, it's those three items, and then it's the Turtle Rock big key and another Turtle Rock small key.
But this will go ahead and SirLinkalot is going to go ahead and take this down to and wrap up Thieves Town. I like this play.
Yeah, definitely no reason not to do this at this point. It's the last thing you've got left in this entire region, and it's pretty quick to get to.
All right, and meanwhile, Kromb looks like we'll go ahead and take those flippers. Let's see if does Bombos first or... Oh, gets bombed there, but it looks like this will be Swamp Palace first.
Yeah, and I'm good with Swamp Palace first in this case. If he was one item from Go Mode, then do Bombos first to hedge against it being there and being able to Go Mode Swamp. But you're still 5 items from Go Mode.
Yeah, there's plenty. There's still plenty of the game going, especially at the 1 hour 7 mark.
Yep, but if the items do keep flowing, this is going to turn out pretty well for in all dungeons. If I remember right, in the qualifier seeds for this mode, 2 hours was generally considered a quite solid time. Just to give an idea.
All right, and there's Bombos. We're not going to need Bombos. We already have the Fire Rod, and we know we're not going to need it as a medallion, but maybe it could be useful for something.
It could be useful specifically for opening Cold Stare's shell if we don't find a Tempered Sword. Because you can do that, then you can just Fire Rod. Even with half magic, you've got to be a bit concerned about that if you have to use Fire Rod to open the shell. But Sorry?
Sorry, go ahead. No, that's a good point.
We did also find, though, the Tower of Hera big key in that first chest of Swamp Palace. So that's a fetch quest for Kromb, one that does incentivize going back for Ether Tablet at least. Meanwhile, SirLinkalot going to be able to do all of Hera in one shot, not isolate anything except the basement.
And looks like Thief Town is going to be our final pendant.
Yep, the map does reveal that for us because we are in the dungeon. You can see the little P right next to the magic meter, contrasts the C on Kromb's side.
All right, and I do like this. Oh, that is a water filling animation. I do like this diver down spot here. Again, so many items still to go. Let's go ahead and check left side swamp first.
Yep, and if you're checking left side swamp first, diver down does make it a fair bit faster to do so. You bomb yourself into that's Stalfos. That wasn't cool.
Oof. Also,
he had himself in the rail.
Yeah, he was in the rail, and then. All right, this looks good. Oh, jeez.
SirLinkalot got the bow.
All right, and that pendant.
And yeah, we are on logical triple dip pod now. Guaranteed, confirmed. Well, I guess, is there anywhere left that the other bow could be that's not behind flippers or boots at this point? I don't think so.
At this point, Eastern Palace big key, but...
Okay, yeah, so literal vanilla bow is the only thing that could save this from being triple dip pod in logic. And hard required double dip, even if you break logic.
Right. Oh, jeez. All right, Left Side Swamp, not really having anything for us today, but Left Side Swamp's one of those places where it's nothing until it's something.
Yep. And you will see this, I think, more in big races than in small races, or in small races 1v1s in particular. But skipping Left Side Swamp has been cause for many an upset in the history of Randomizer.
All right, and with this bow, SirLinkalot's just going to go ahead and clear up the pod eastern area. I do like this also because it's going to be very quick, or at least very straightforward. Maybe not quick, but straightforward. Going to be an easy pickup for the Eastern Palace big chest since it's right outside the room, right in the same room where the key door is.
Yep, and then once Linkalot has cleared both dungeons here, you go turn in that green pendant at Sahasrara immediately, and you never have to come back to this area ever again.
Nice bomb diver down there. And there's our third Turtle Rock Small.
So unless it's Ice Rod in the lava chest in Turtle Rock, that one that has the big key in vanilla, we've got all the small keys we need. Just need that Turtle Rock big key, and then Samaria Ice Rod.
Alright, the Mini Helma's not exactly cooperating there with SirLinkalot, but does get them taken care of. As SirLinkalot's about to meet King Helmasaur.
Yeah, and the problem with that turtle room is that SirLinkalot was on full health, meaning sword beams, Also on red mail, meaning you have to take 2 hits to actually go down, lose health to not be on full to get those, or to lose those sword beams. And then even then, Master Sword not the greatest for killing those turtles. Kromb doing a pretty good job getting those double puffs though. Not doing it now. Well, okay, yeah, there it is. What's he switching to? Okay, yeah, so going for the Fire Rod for the quick kill here. Linkalot. Silvers. Okay, who in Twitch chat said that?
Bow locked bow. You gotta love it.
Yeah, shoutouts to Papa Bear in Twitch chat who called that a couple minutes ago. While I believe while Linkalot was in Turtles. Kromb getting his tempered sword, so we're not missing that. That's nice.
Right, and that does actually guarantee we're gonna have tempered and silvers going into Ganon at this point.
Yeah, there is literally no way to miss both of those at this point. And Kromb gonna go turn in that Bombos tablet. We are still looking for Samaria, Ice Rod, Turtle Rock, Bigby.
Yeah, so Kromb needs to make his way over towards the Thieves Town to get that bow, though. Because right now, that's kind of one of the locks.
Before he does that, he needs to do the boots checks to get that Thieves Town big key.
Oh, you're right. And it's not a great spot. Oh, this is going to be water? Ice Palace, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, Ice Palace fully in logic. Wanting to follow those flippers from Swamp Palace, which is the density, it is the crystals. But at the same time, we unfortunately know that following the boots would be a fair bit more productive here. Well, I say that, but if he does the boots checks right after Ice Palace, it's not like you're go-moding any of these dungeons anyways.
That's a good point. It does depend where the Cane of Samaria is, though.
Yeah, that's the other side of things, because if SirLinkalot pulls, say, Cane of Samaria off the Armos Knights in a second here, he can do Icebreaker, save a fair bit of time full clearing this dungeon over Kromb, who's going to do the old bomb jump route.
And the one out for the Cane of Samaria, it was just not meant to be.
Small key. Is this Turtle Rock as well? No, Ganon's Tower. Green Pendant turn-in, though, still on the table.
And Pedestal, honestly, as well. That's all 3 pendants.
Oh, yeah, it is. And we don't know what's on it because we have not been back there since we got the book. Although, if I'm being completely honest, Pedestal in all dungeons, not nearly the excitement that you would get in a more non-all dungeon setting, even if something good's on it. Just because you gotta do all the dungeons anyways.
All right, and I guess we sold the green pendant for 300.
It's a fair price for the family heirloom.
Yep. All right, and meanwhile, SirLinkalot is going to go ahead and also go into Ice Palace here. Or, oh, Waterfall, okay.
Waterfall of Wishing.
And actually, I like this, because this is going to be easy to get back to Ice Palace from here.
Yeah, because you just take that exact same whirlpool right back. There's the last Turtle Rock small key. Apparently only the second for SirLinkalot, though.
Okay, and then... Okay, so SirLinkalot is going to go ahead and tackle, I guess, Swamp Palace here first.
Yeah, and I mean, he kind of was right there, but Swamp Ice, they're both just... they're not actually as close and convenient to route together as their physical distance suggests they might be. That's all I'm going to say.
That's fair.
Chad asking, Kromb did do Bombos tablets. The 10 bomb drop was on it, which is interesting, but not useful.
Yeah, it is the only 10 bomb drop that there is in the item pool, but...
Yeah, and it was custom added to the pool. It does not exist in the vanilla game. It was added to facilitate bombs as a weapon for standard start, which one of our modes for the tournament this year is standard boots, which does not give you a guaranteed sword. It's just standard random weapon, but you start with the boots.
Kromb pulling off the most difficult bomb jump there in the entire game. Oh, and there's a big key for Turtle Rock.
Would have loved to see the ice rod first, but oh well. You still take it. You still have to have it.
Yep, so all it means, I'm sure, is just going to be on Cold Stare here.
Well, I'm trying to think of what's even left if Cold Stare's not Samaria.
We've got Hera Big chest.
Okay, yeah, sure, we did find that key.
But that's a good point. There's not a whole lot more.
Yeah, so I'm not saying Cold Stare has to be Samaria, but chances are there's something here that opens up something for us, which at this point would be exactly Samaria. Or it could just be a map. No, actually, chat pointing out Ether Tablet, Spike Cave are both still on the table as well in that Tower of Hera area. We did get Misery Mire from both runners, though. It had a shovel in it, which led to Eastern Palace Big Key, but not much else of note.
Right. And Berna does now put that in logic. Kromb now going to go ahead and check out Waterfall. And we'll pick up that fourth TR small key.
Yep, so Kromb going to be all good to go on that front. Linkalot missing the Turtle Rock small key, I believe, from Catfish. But unless there's something in that Turtle Rock lava chest, doesn't need it.
Right. And Hera Basement could be a possibility. We just haven't seen the small key for it quite yet.
Yeah, and that small key has no logical implications on anything else. So it could just be in the depths of Ganon's Town and we never see it. Looks like, though, Kromb gonna head up and show us all of the Misery Mire, or not Misery Mire, Tower of Hera area. It is pretty miserable at this point, but he's still gonna show it to us anyways.
All right, especially when you're, yeah, especially kind of starting to run low on other checks.
This is the density for him, even more so than the boots checks. But we do know the boots checks have the Thieves Town big key that we absolutely need.
Right, the Thieves Town big key that we need for the bow, that we need for Pod and Eastern. So sooner or later, Kromb will be forced to do those checks. And
yep.
Remembering, oh right, got that big chest.
Yeah, he's going to do this, then he'll mirror out, and he'll presumably do Spike Cave, save and quit out of Spike Cave to Sanctuary, do Bonk Rock's King's Tomb, get the Thieves Town big key. Kromb's fine.
SirLinkalot opting to go ahead and do the back of Swamp Palace here, vanilla, not using the bomb diver down.
Yeah, which isn't too bad. It does mean you just have to sit through this water draining, and there's...
Oh!
Okay, so does Kromb go through Turtle Rock here and just gamble on Ice Rod being inside? Looks like it. And actually, SirLinkalot is very incentivized to go there himself because he doesn't have the crystal off Mulder yet. So
Right.
expect that to be his next play. Well, maybe Ice Palace, but he is very incentivized to go there now because he got that big key out of the swamp. But yeah, Kromb is in a decent position here if the Ice Rod's in Turtle Rock and he doesn't ever have to come back here until Ganon's Tower. But still absolutely has to do Bonk Rocks. D-Town Big Key locks the bow on Blind, and the other bow is on Helmasaur, so you have to kill Blind to be able to do Eastern Pod.
Right.
Eh,
And
the-
and sorry, go ahead.
At this point, really, those dungeons are all Kromb has left besides one boss in Mire. And chat asking where Kromb got his third sword. SirLinkalot is going to get it as soon as the Sargus dies.
All right, and that is dungeon number 6 down for SirLinkalot. Meanwhile, Kromb has done Hera. Kromb's done Hera and Ice Palace, but SirLinkalot's done Eastern and Thieves Town
And Pod.
and Pod.
But Kromb has progression that SirLinkalot doesn't in the form of that Cane of Samaria, so that's why he's able to do Turtle Rock here. Of course, unless Ice Rod shows up in the dungeon or in the Mimic Cave, gonna have to abandon it and do the long walk through again.
Now, if Kromb leaves the mirror, saves and quits, does that leave the mirror?
Yes, save and quit loses it.
Okay. And it would be sort of a moot point to leave it, because we already know what the boots checks will be, and they are at least not the Ice Rod. They're going to be 100% required. It's just not what we're looking for here. SirLinkalot, though, is going to go ahead and check Pedestal.
Yep, gonna just pull it here. I mean, has all 3 pendants.
Oh, yeah, you might as well.
But for Kromb, there actually is an alternative to save and quit. What's this key? Ganon's Tower. Okay. So not needed really at all, but might be nice to have if the big key is specifically deep. And yeah, I was about to mention it, chat beating me to it now. But there is an alternative to saving and quitting to preserve a Dark World portal or a Mirror portal. That's just die on the overworld. And then continue from there. That does preserve your portal. And will get you from Dark World back to Light because we haven't killed Aghanim.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, and at this point, our racers will not be killing Aghanim until the very end, or Aga 1 at least.
Well, they'll kill Aga 2 and then Aga 1 back to back, and that will essentially be the very end.
Yeah. All right, let's see what we get in Mimic Cave.
Nothing of real value there. But Linkalot in the Hera area, gonna get that cane. We'll be able to Icebreaker in Ice Palace, so that will save a little bit of time over the bomb jump route to full clear. And chat asking about Lava Chest. Lava Chest was nothing, just I believe a red rupee. So that 4th Turtle Rock small key is avoidable. But for SirLinkalot, that does mean he would have to choose to skip that check when he may be still hunting an Ice Rod.
Yep. And there's that Cane of Samaria for Linkalot as well. But let's see. Yeah, do we think that Ice Rod will be here on Laser Bridge? It's going to be the question.
If it's not, then there's not very many places left for it. There's what? The Vitreous, and then the Pyramid Fairy. And I'm not coming up with anything else. Okay, there's a spot it could be. Tower of Hera basement.
Yep.
Oh, in chat saying, yeah, Pyramid Fairy Turtle Rock locked. It's yes, sorry, it definitely is. So it's not on Pyramid Fairy. So we're looking at Hera basement or Vitreous.
And Kromb
or Spike Cave.
Or Spike Cave, right. SirLinkalot is actually gonna be avoiding Turtle Rock for right now. We'll go ahead and take that Samaria over to Meyer.
Now, avoiding Turtle Rock, as we just saw, unless it's exactly in Hera basement, gonna very much play in his favor.
And meanwhile, Kromb is going to go ahead and check Spike Cave first here. We've got some really interesting routing between the two runners, and both have paid out in various ways. I think SirLinkalot's probably in a better position right now, but this has been an excellent race to watch, honestly.
Yeah. SirLinkalot's in a very strong position right now, I think, just because of the possibility that you'll be able to go mode Turtle Rock and Ice Palace both. But yeah, chat pointing out Spike Cave is a tricky check for Kromb here because you probably want to save and quit out of it, although he will be entering it with a full half magic bar and Cane of Burna. So, but if he does save and quit out of it, then there goes Mirror Portal. Oh, actually, yeah, chat, he did save and quit to get back to Death Mountain, which means saving the portal was never at all on his mind.
And Kromb bravely knocking away these tiles, but we're at a coffee break situation here, so bit of a midpoint.
Yep, but here is the last tile. And there is the full magic refill that's always there, and nothing.
So getting a question from chat. Yes, so with randomized maps, compasses, and keys, Hera can go ahead and get a couple more items, or they will have more items.
Yep. Like in particular, Hera normally 2 items, but has a map, a compass, a big key, a small key. So a key sanity mode turns that into 6. Meyer normally has 3 small keys, plus map, compass, big key, 2 items. That turns into an 8-item play, and there it is. So how's Kromb going to approach this? Straight back to Turtle Rock, I guess.
And meanwhile, it looks like SirLinkalot, looks like Vitreous just had the Mirror Shield.
And a crystal. Can't ignore that.
And a crystal, that is true. But yeah, Kromb with the Ice Rod there. So SirLinkalot's going to have to get up to the mountain to check Spike Cave as soon as possible.
Yeah, and the question here for SirLinkalot, because I'm pretty sure that he's going to Ice Palace first here, which I think makes total sense. But after that, do you do Spike Cave before or after Turtle Rock? One of them is correct. One of them is typically more efficient. And they're not the same answer in this case. And that's the thing about randomizer, though. You don't, you can make the move that is going to be correct more often, but it just turns out not to be correct on this particular seed because that's randomizer.
But yeah, with this, we're going to see kind of what is... And Kromb making his way through Ice Palace here. We know there's not a whole lot aside from that 4th bottle.
Yep. And with Icebreaker, what he'll be doing in a couple rooms here, be able to do that fairly quickly. And actually, Kromb using the Ice Rod there, this is an alternate setup for the Spooky Action glitch. I don't think he set it up on the bird, but that Ice Rod shot does... Actually, no, the Ice Rod shot it from him. I don't remember 100%, but off the top of my head, I believe the Ice Rod shot actually fills in for the Boots Dust. Doesn't look like he got it, though. That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ice Rod and Silver Arrows do populate the Ancilla. That can be used, off the top of my head, I believe, as a substitute for the Boots Dust to do Spooky. But chat saying that he might have broken it with the extra Ice Rod shot that was intended to be Fire Rod. I would believe it. Spooky Action is a bit finicky as a trick. But for those who aren't familiar with it, what it does is it offsets the splash of your Fire Rod. So we saw Kromb trying to use the Fire Rod on the anti-fairies there. And with the trick active, it would have offset the splash damage from his Fire Rod. And that splash damage would have hit the crystal switch in the room to the north, lowering the crystal switch blocks and letting him proceed without having to bomb and go up and hit it manually.
Yeah. Meanwhile,
sorry, go on.
Sorry. Meanwhile, Kromb going ahead and taking down Vitreous. A little slower without the bow, but still gets that all-important crystal.
Yep. He used the cape and then to avoid the damage, and then basically did the damage boost in MG strat without actually taking the damage. But he didn't have the bow for phase 2, and that's where the slowness really comes in. So the chat saying that Ice Rod does not break Spooky. Kromb was just not lined up, and he actually did get it. I didn't even notice. He did get it on the torch in the room right before. So he had his Spooky action. He just was unfortunately slightly in the wrong place, and his splash damage was not able to hit exactly where it needed to. But Kromb is doing his boots checks here. This will lead to him cleaning up the last remaining dungeons he has. And then probably back to Turtle Rock. And then Ganon's Tower.
All right. And now Kromb's going to go ahead and make those boots checks. That'll incentivize Thieves Town. And we'll be kind of back on track there.
Yep. Thieves Town big key here. A bow on blind in Thieves Town. And then silver arrows on Helmasaur, hard locked behind that bow in Thieves. So yeah, Kromb will be in go mode once he clears Thieves Town, and he is headed right there, so he's not that far from it. But the back of Thieves Town is a little bit of a run.
Yeah, it's going to take time. It's definitely going to take time, but yeah, Kromb's in pretty good shape. Where does SirLinkalot go? Spike Cave is... we'll see where SirLinkalot goes. Just needing Turtle Rock and then GT Castle Tower.
Yep. And if he chooses Spike Cave before Thieves Town, or not before Thieves Town, before Turtle Rock, he's in great shape. And if he chooses Thieves Town first, then it's a bit interesting. But this looks like Spike Cave to me.
Yep, that looks that's going to be good for SirLinkalot there.
Actually, chat mentioning SirLinkalot never got the 4th Turtle Rock small key out of Catfish. So that was another check he could have potentially done and gone. But doing things in this order, he will actually put him in go mode and guarantee he does not need that 4th small key.
All right, and SirLinkalot getting that ice rod, and that is go mode for SirLinkalot.
Yep. And we do get to see something resembling a go mode Turtle Rock, only possible because it's key sanity and we don't have to clear out all the rooms to get all the small keys anyways. Chat pointing out SirLinkalot definitely in the driver's seat for this race, having gone to Spike Cave first. If he'd gone to Turtle Rock first and would have to walk through it multiple times and full clear it, it would have been potentially quite interesting. But he is in very good shape here, and we'll see how he does at go mode.
And meanwhile, Kromb is going to have to make this check at least, confirmation of the pendant.
Yeah, but once he gets the bow offline, he will also be in go mode, just with a couple extra dungeons he'll have to go finish the bosses for.
Right, and Pod isn't too bad, but Eastern, for as easy as Eastern it is a pretty slow dungeon.
Yeah, the boots do help significantly with that, because Eastern Palace is a lot of long, straight hallways that you cannot have the boots for in vanilla. But it's still several rooms and a bit of a slog regardless. And there is Kromb's go mode.
But yeah, this is going to be some. Now Kromb knows exactly what to do. Got to go ahead and do Pod, Eastern, take care of all the things.
Yep. And the good news for him, even though I'm sure this is the furthest thing from his mind right now, is that he will be getting the silver arrows in one of his next two checks, whether he does Eastern or Pod first.
That is a good point. And just a heads up, we are going to go dark for just a quick second here, so that we can get SirLinkalot's stream back up.
Yep. And while that happens, chat mentioning that this race basically Kromb followed the flippers out of Pod, while SirLinkalot followed the boots. Because remember, both runners were in Pod pretty much together. But it's the difference between
to just happen to turn out that one worked out a little bit better than the other.
Yep. And I mean, it goes back to what I was saying earlier when we had the dilemma of Spike Cave versus going directly into Turtle Rock for Linkalot in particular. One of those plays we know is the correct play this scene. Spike Cave first, it has your item. The other play, going into Turtle Rock first, is statistically the more likely play to be right, will be right on a higher percentage of seeds. So both very, very reasonable, defensible plays. It just broke in Linkalot's favor here. And don't want to take anything away from the run that Kromb has put on this seed, because it's been quite good.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, while we're getting things back set up in the commentary booth, looks like we do have the streams back live on the channel. So Linkalot on Trinex.
Yeah, and really none of what's left should be a particular challenge for these two runners, both rather experienced, done this many, many times. Very satisfactory equipment for both. I mean, you could do 0 cycle Trinex with Gold Sword if you wanted, which we can't do here, but that's really about it.
Yep, so now our main question is, where's the GT big key? Reg, what do you think?
Well, when we do the numbered guessing game, I'm always a fan of the number 10. Happens to be my favorite number. But it's going to be somewhere in the basement. That's all I can say with confidence here.
100% confidence.
Yeah, I'll say that it's going to be in the randomizer room specifically. That 4-chest room that a lot of players who just play casually vanilla never find and doesn't have anything of note besides some bombs and some arrows.
All right.
We do have Kromb now with silvers in hand. Got to go through Eastern Palace with them, tear through the Armos Knights. SirLinkalot entering Ganon's Tower here. And for chat asking, we are playing Faux Key Sanity here, which means the Castle Tower small keys are both going to be in Castle Tower, and special to this mode, the Ganon's Tower big key is also going to be somewhere in Ganon's Tower instead of in the world. So with those 3 keys, I'm not going to call them completely fixed because of Ganon's Tower, but relatively fixed, while the rest of the keys in the game can be literally anywhere.
Right, and meanwhile, it's our SirLinkalot side. First 2 weren't the answer. There we go, number 4.
Yep, Compass Room. And when you walk into the dungeon with all 4 small keys already in hand, you don't have to worry about finding one in Hope Room so that you can go to the right side. You just go.
Yep. And Midnight Roach, congratulations on getting it first try.
Yeah, we don't have a bot or anything to track it, but you got the number right. You won the guessing game. Good job.
Yeah, you win a lifetime supply of randomizer seeds.
Redeemable at ALTTPR.com. And I mean, with that, SirLinkalot headed up into the so-called gauntlet of the tower, a series of rooms that are designed to be rather challenging on the combat front, culminating in a rematch with the Landmolas. Kromb, meanwhile, picking up the 3rd pendant, gonna head straight back to Turtle Rock, run all the way through it as fast as he can, kill Trinex, and try to join Linkalot in the tower.
Yeah, this is definitely... Kromb is going to be able to fly through these dungeons real quick. SirLinkalot is doing a great job through this gauntlet, though.
Yeah, you don't see that bonk into the pot strat to kill that Stalfos in that last gauntlet room too often, but worked well for him here. And silver arrows, 1, ooh, miss, unfortunate. I think that was only a poke rather than a spin on that Lambo.
I think so as well.
Yeah, and those rocks, it's not fun. But yeah, that was just a poke, unfortunately. Or it was just a different one altogether. One of the 2.
Yeah. All right, but that is Lambo 2 down, and now we get into some satisfying Wizrobe rooms.
Samaria already equipped. Wizrobes will die in 1 hit from anything that damages them. Samaria happens to explode the block in 4 cardinal directions. So, very nice here. This one's slightly more challenging, but you just got to be quick enough to get up there and get the sword slash on the last one that's not in the cardinal direction there.
Yeah. Meanwhile, SirLinkalot getting that lamp to the ready.
Yeah, with half magic here, could have chosen to use Fire Rod instead if he wanted, but went for the lamp. Ensures he'll have plenty of magic for the last 4 torches up here, and then there is a refill in the Primo Worm room. And yep, there's the bomb on the conveyor, pre-Moldorm room. It's a refill room for anybody who knows that you can powder bunny beams and anti-fairies, get 14 hearts and the full magic back, and take that. The fight with Moldorm 2, generally not too challenging, but he has been known to knock many an overconfident runner down to the lower floor.
Right. And yeah, Moldorm and Moldorm's twin brother, they definitely, their biggest damage is more just knocking the opponent off knocking their foe off the fight and have to redo the entire fight. Never feels good.
Yeah, there are many spikes below the Moldorm 2 arena, but it's definitely more about the time lost than the actual damage.
Right. Meanwhile, practicing our agonometry here. Nice double to lead off with.
Only a single on that one, unfortunately, but that's still 3 out of 6. So a double here would clean up the fight in 4 cycles, which is always pretty solid. Oh, I spoke slightly too soon.
All right, so 2, 1, 1.
Ones across the board after that first 2. Meanwhile, Kromb headed for the Trinex fight as SirLinkalot gonna mirror here, not drop into the pit. He's gonna remember this is all dungeons, and he's gonna mirror and enter Castle Tower.
Yep, and Ganon will let you know, and does the remember. That's one of the hardest maneuvers right there in the game, to remember that you have to do Castle Tower.
Yeah, when you've been playing for an hour and 50 or more, definitely easy to let that one slip your mind. And yep, small key to this dungeon, and then in the dark maze in another couple rooms, we'll have another small key to this dungeon. And then we'll just get to go kill Aga 1, who is significantly easier than Aga 2, but slower, because he only shoots 1 attack at a time.
Right. Although then we also do get to say, like, you know, how many, because it will take 6 hits, same as Aga 2. How many of those non-reflectable, like, blue projectiles do you think we'll get for this upcoming fight?
Well, I think, if I remember correctly, 3 is the statistical average. I think there's only been 1 runner ever recorded getting the max of 15. NMG speedrunners playing the vanilla game usually reset on more than 2 at the top level, if I remember. So pick one of those numbers and run with them, in my opinion. Or 0 if you're feeling real nice.
I mean, to be fair, there is something to be said for a, you know, even though we haven't had to scrounge around too much we haven't had to look for the keys here. They've just been along the way. But to complete the entire game in what is going to look like under 2 hours is incredibly impressive.
Yeah, we had a few twists along the way, mostly like that logical triple dip and just hard required double dip of pod in particular. Although Ishin was also a hard required double dip because it had a mirror and cannonball chest blocking the Moon Pearl.
And that's a good point. Yeah, it's been an interesting. This has been an interesting seed, definitely, for our racers.
Yeah, I think those were the only 2 required dungeon double dips, I think. Everything else could have been done in a single dip. But it was pretty smooth for the runners overall, I think.
All right, so we've had 1. And Aghanim does attack. In Aga 1, does attack in patterns of 5, where the first one is always reflectable. 2 through 4 might or might not. 50-50 whether they can be reflected or not. 5 is always lightning.
Yep, and that first one always being reflectable is why 15 is the max. And I believe that was 2.
Yep. And SirLinkalot will save a couple milliseconds here, not having to do a refill.
Yeah, just already being full health, full magic. Well done. And then just drop into the Ganon fight. He does not call you a dingus because you have done everything else and completed your goal. And just the fight we've honestly seen many, many times before. I don't think that... Well, actually, no. That was definitely clear the cycle. But I don't think he's in a position to get a 1 cycle on this phase. Maybe if he uses that cape.
All right, does get the bats here. And these bats, ooh, not a great... Oh!
That's rough. Because those bats, they knock you around in the direction that you're holding. So Linkalot trying to hold up to get to Ganon so he could hit him, walked into a bat, bat knocked him upwards right into the pit.
And yep, remembering to grab this fairy right here. There we go. If the fairy cooperates.
Yeah, and the problem, honestly, more than his health being down a heart, is going to be that magic meter. I think he's got a blue potion, though, so not too worried.
Yeah, and also with the half magic, this is still above, like, regular magic. And silvers.
Yeah, it is just a concern if he wanted to use the cape in phase 2 again.
Oh, that's a much nicer setup, though.
Yeah, this is going to be free and easy 1 cycle. Well, I say that. He just got knocked too far into the side, but I think that's still going to get it. Just for a lot of damage, unfortunately.
All right, and yeah, if you can hit Ganon before he jumps and summons the bats, then... All right, here we go. Just playing it safe. I like... Might as well just go ahead and play it safe.
Yeah, like, Linkalot doesn't know it for sure, but he is in a very solid position here. Definitely has plenty of room to play safe. And yeah, there's the silver arrows that you could not possibly miss this seed because both bows were on bosses. And triple, nice. That's going to wrap it up.
All right, so yeah, get your GGs in chat as SirLinkalot is about to cross the finish line.
And that is SirLinkalot across the bridge, the time of 1:55:41.
All right, and in the meantime, Kromb is going to go ahead and take down Aga 2.
Yep. Double to open it up. We'll see if he can save any cycles over Linkalot here. That's going to save 1 because Linkalot only had singles after his first cycle. And there we go. That is Aga 2 down for Kromb. And after completing this, he does opt to forfeit the race, so that will bring things to a conclusion as we are joined by SirLinkalot. So GG's, congratulations on getting the win.
Thank you.
So, what are your thoughts about that seed?
I hated my early game. I felt terrible because at last location and what I was doing just wasn't paying off. Once I got to Dark World, I started feeling a lot better, especially some of the... I went back for like single checks and they ended up paying off. And I was feeling pretty good up until the Ganon fall, which I can't even remember the last time I took the Ganon fall, and I just... Especially on phase 3, and I'm just like... I saw the fire bats get out of control. I'm like, I'm probably gonna fall here, and then the second one came and fell. I'm just like, oh well, I'm waiting for a finish now because that's probably what's gonna happen.
Yeah, phase 3 Ganon falls are exceptionally rare, unfortunately. But it did kind of come out. Basically, the way the seed played out is you were both in pod pretty much at the same time, and pod, you know, quite stacked.
That only concern I had when I was getting towards that point was when I found the boots. I was just like, crap, I've had this many pod keys for this long, and boots have been there, and I've been doing all this checking. And then I started thinking, well, I'm like, it's in the chest that if you're gonna skip something in the front, that's the one you're probably skipping though. So if you came in there without 6 keys, or 5 keys, and you can do the hammer yelp, it's just like, yeah, okay, I don't feel too bad, but still, it sucks that boots have been there all this time and I didn't go do it.
Yeah, you guys did have 6 pod keys exceptionally early here. And we are joined now by Kromb as well. GG's, welcome.
GG's SirLinkalot.
GG's, Kromb.
Oh,
Yeah, I do want to... sorry, go on.
What for a terrible seat for me. I think I have locating 3 or 4 items. That wasn't my seat.
Yeah, because I was telling SirLinkalot before you joined that you were both in pod pretty much at the same time. And it was pretty stacked, boots, flippers, book. I think a required key or 2 as well. But ultimately what happened is, immediately after pod, Linkalot, you went and did the boots checks. You got your Thieves Town big key, which led directly to both bows. Meanwhile, Kromb, you went to the water dungeons, full cleared those out, got that efficiency, but didn't really lead to anything, and you wound up doing Turtle Rock without the ice rod because of it.
I was doing Turtle Rock without the ice rod because I was so hoped that I find the bow and the ice rod in the Turtle Rock, but yeah, it wasn't in Turtle Rock. And yes, then I was thinking, okay, you become the Smoky of Hera, you go Hera basement, you make then Spike Cave, you find the ice rod, I think go back to Turrots. No, I say no, I will go to Maya, a clear Maya. After then I was check the boot check and find the biggie of Thief Sound, find the bow on blind, and I was thinking, okay, GG, SirLinkalot, you have win. But after that found I was, yes, I was hope SirLinkalot finished up in 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, it was after finding that, because that was unfortunately kind of late getting those boots checks. But getting the you did get Samaria a lot earlier, and it was also very close for if SirLinkalot was going to find the ice rod, or like check Spike Cave before Turtle Rock. And actually, SirLinkalot kind of 50-50? How much of a do you usually go for one versus the other?
What's that?
For when you were looking, when you were choosing between doing Turtle Rock and trying to see if the ice rod was in Turtle Rock, or checking Spike Cave first.
So part of that is I accidentally fluted after I finished Hera. I was actually going to check Spike Cave after finishing Hera up, since I was right there, and I fluted away. I'm like, I was going to check Spike Cave, so it was in the back of my mind. And the idea that at that point I had Catfish, Spike Cave, Turtle Rock. So I was like, I'm going to just skip Catfish. We'll check Spike Cave for it. If it's not there, odds are it's in Turtle Rock. Then we'll just do Turtle Rock. That was pretty much it. It was just like I kind of wanted to limit the idea that I had to go through Turtle Rock twice.
Yeah, actually, here's a question for you on that note. If it wasn't in Spike Cave and you enter Turtle Rock on 3 keys, do you do the lava chest in that situation?
I skip it.
Okay, because there was a 4th Turtle Rock small key on there on the check that you were committing to skip. So I was interested in how that could have potentially played out.
Yeah, no, that would have been a hard skip, and then if I wouldn't have found Ice Rod, that would have been oh well, there's something on Catfish, or I would have known it would have had to have been a Turtle Rock small, and then Ice Rod sitting there, so. But.
All right, good deal.
Have you make to Tower of Hera too, or are you going with one dip into Hera?
I think like you were two trips into Tower of Hera, right? One for the lobby and the cage, and then one for the boss with the big key later.
I was three. I was one for main duo on to clean Hera, and then another one 4 times. I was 4 times. I was go then for the big chest, and after the found of the small key from Hera in Turtle Rock, I was going back 4 times.
Yeah, because
That's right.
you did Hera pot without the big key, while Linkalot walked right by the dungeon in that case.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't even get close to. I mean, I was on the mountain with the hook shot, but doing Hera without the big key, it didn't even cross my mind. Like, I mean, it was there. It was like, yeah, I could do it for the 2 in the clear, but like, it's kind of out of the way right now. I've got other things. I've got a lot more that I can do. My main reason to go up to Turtle Rock was the density of checks over in Darkside, and then also checking the medallion requirement for TR. That way I knew if I was still looking for a medallion or if I didn't care about medallions anymore.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, very well done though by both of you. Honestly, still good routing. Is just one paid off a little bit more than the other. Do y'all have your second race scheduled?
Yes, we have on next week, Sunday, same time.
Yep.
All right, good deal. And we've any kind of final thoughts about this one before we put it to bed?
SirLinkalot, you're at first.
I mean, it was all right. See, like I said, early game I didn't feel too good because of just not finding anything, having to farm for rupees, things like that. But you know, other than that, and the Ganon fall, I felt pretty good about it.
Yes, I will hope the next seed will be better for me, that I will roll that when we not become a restream. And yes, the seed was very exciting for me.
Yeah, it definitely it looked like it, and I hope that y'all. I'm looking forward to seeing y'all later on in this tournament. Yeah, I think we're gonna be close to wrapping it up. We do have a Super Mario Bros. 3 any% warpless coming up on this channel in the next 10 minutes. But for more Link to the Past, let's see. Reg, it looks like we've got at 210 on SpeedGaming 3, we've got 340, all these times Eastern time. SpeedGaming 2 has a matchup. 910 on SpeedGaming Main, 940 on SpeedGaming 3. We are well into the group stage for Link to the Past.
Yeah, and I mean, for all the matches we've got today, this is just day 1 of the group stage. 3 weeks plus the bracket stage of more rando than you can shake a stick at. If you're looking for a race, chances are you will find one. If not already on, then coming up pretty soon.
Right. So yeah, again, thank you very much, Kromb and SirLinkalot. Thank you very much for agreeing to be restreamed and for putting on a fantastic race. Reg, thank you for co-comming. BSJ, thank you very much for tracking for us. And yeah, thank you everyone for watching along. Reg, any final words?
It was an entertaining one. Also, make sure follow SpeedGaming 2 through 6, ALTTP randomizer, the runners, all the good stuff. But we'll see you guys some other race.
Y'all take it easy.